Okay, good morning everyone. Today I'd like to share with you a project that I've spent way too long working on. It's literally been months and a bit of money spent. Um, it's got I've made 8 different versions of this project. So let's start off with version 1. I've already posted about this. This is the rice maker project. Sorry, the rice cleaner project. Where the idea is you put rice into a little drum, put it in a machine, and it washes it for you. That's the idea. So I started off with just a little test to see whether this concept will actually work, and I had some success with that. It's worked okay. It worked. So then I moved into making a slightly better version. The plan was to include some kind of net to go in here in order to prevent the rice from falling out, obviously, and a screw-on cap. The idea was that I'd put a ball bearing on this end, and there'd be a motor that goes through here. But my stupid, because this was only version 2, I was still very new to 3D designing things. This broke immediately because that doesn't work as a hinge. I realized that after it broke. I knew this bit wasn't going to be watertight, but I just needed it for mostly testing purposes. And this little bit worked pretty well. So overall, it was an okay test, and it worked. And then I went on to version 3, which was a vertical stack, which had a base because the motor had to fit in underneath it. We had the actual chamber where the water would go in, the drum, the lid, and the top cap. The drum itself has a little spacer between the outside and the inside bit to put in, again, a piece of some kind of filter. I ended up using a thin mesh, which works pretty well, and I'm using it on the current version that I'll show you when we get to it. Except I used a different kind of motor, and when I powered it up fully, it exploded. So I was kind of done with that version for now. And then I went back to having a horizontal version. The box itself is pretty much the same from version 2, except that I've added a bit more bits to keep water inside of the thing. And the other major change was adding a hole to make the water go out, and also a hole on the left and right for a sensor that I've developed that used a laser beam and a photoresistor to check the dirtiness of the water that's inside. I ended up changing that later on, but we'll get to that. And yeah, so this worked fine, except the drum was, I've learned a lot from. The drum is actually really nice. So I made this insert piece that goes inside the drum. Around this, I've put the same kind of filter mesh that just glues onto this drum, and then that can be slid in and out for washing. And that worked really well, and I'm still using that on my current version. The screw-on lid worked okay. It wasn't perfect. I didn't even bother with the hinge on this one, so you can see how well that worked. And what happened with this one was it actually worked fairly decently. It was, I think, a bit loud because one of the motors I was trying to use on it was kind of irritating, but it worked. So then I moved on to experimenting with a vertical stack again. And there's a few changes in here, but you can see I've used the same kind of drum design. But this one has a lid with an agitator in it, as I've come to call it, because vertically the rice doesn't move a lot, which means it just kind of settles and spins around. So I've had to add something to actually keep the rice moving slightly. But this ended up actually breaking the rice into pieces. So instead of having grains of rice, you'd have broken pieces of rice. But I didn't realize that until the next version. So yeah, the things that changed on this one are pretty much just the hole for the new kind of sensor, and I've developed a sort of an electronic board holder. Yeah, this worked fine. I'm pretty sure this is the version I did a video on previously. So yeah, it worked. It needed more development. So then I moved on to this one, which is basically pretty much identical to this one, except the bottom piece, because I ordered a different valve and a different valve for letting the water out. So I can actually show you this. Let me pull out the actual bits and pieces I've assembled. Keep them in this box. Right, so as you can see, this got very complicated very quickly. Let's remove the power supply because we won't be powering it on. So I was using a 12 volt power supply for this. Yeah, 12 volt at 1.5 amps. It powers it, so that's all I needed. This is pretty much exactly the same as the previous video, except I've added a pump to fill the tank with water after it's been emptied. So I'll just put this aside because this is pretty much exactly the same. The thing I've added onto the lid is a water sensor, so that when it's filling up with water, the water gets to this level. That triggers it to tell it that it's full of water, and that's pretty much it for the lid. I'll put that away. Yeah, like I said, this is the drum design that fits in really nicely in there. And is the lid in here? Where's the lid? Oh, yeah, I forgot. This didn't really have a lid because this just kind of went on top here. Though that never ended up working properly because this always ended up being pushed out. So that never worked well. Yeah, but the drum, this filter was really nice, and that pretty much always worked perfectly. So yeah, on here you can see that I went for a much bigger valve. Essentially, this is the thing that actually made me give up on the electric version of the rice cleaner, just because these valves are pretty expensive. I think this was like below £20, but it was pretty expensive for what it is. This sensor's pretty expensive too. I think this was around, again, I think around £15 just for the sensor and the little controller board for it. And I've got the motor in here as well. So it was okay as a proof of concept, but eventually the biggest problems I've had with it was actually getting the water out. So when the water was in here, I would set off the valve and it would slowly trickle out. But the idea with a rice washer is you want to get rid of the water quickly. So this never ended up working the way I wanted it to work. So I pretty much just gave up on this, and it sat dormant in a box for quite a while until a few weeks ago before I moved. I started working on a different version of it that I've experimented with before, but I've not pursued it just because I thought it would be a waste of time. But I went back to it, and it's kind of the version I've settled on. So it's actually right here. So it doesn't need any electronics. So I've got this drum. Let me open this up for you. Let me actually just put my iPad on the side because I don't currently need it. This comes out. It should come out. It will come out. That won't come out. Okay, that won't come out. I think the glue stuck it to it. Okay. Yeah. So, things I've changed on this one is I've completely redesigned the lid. It's using much bigger threads, and it works so much better. It's still on ball bearings just for smooth gliding. And then the drum, it's basically just a tub with a little lid on the exit port. This was a late addition, but I'll probably incorporate it into the design I actually published for this. But yeah, so you have this. The drum goes in there. Obviously, you put rice in here, and let me demonstrate how simple this is. I apologize if the audio quality changes. Right, please excuse my kitchen. We've only just moved in, and nothing's in its right place yet. Right, check out the drum. We open the drum. We take our rice, and we pour in about one person's worth, which is about half this tub. Cool. Now that we've filled this up with rice, we can close it. and just put that drum in there. And now go over to the sink. Right, now I'm at the sink. I apologize for the crappy writing. I don't have anything better right now. But the idea is, go to the sink and you align it with the water flow. And you just turn the water on. And this is why this is important, because this controls the amount of water that goes into the tub. And there's my rice cleaner. I can limit the amount of water that's in the drum, which kind of reduces the splashing, but also slows down the drum because it adds more resistance and stuff. But for the most part, this is my rice cleaner now. I'll just get a close up on that. So yeah, that's my rice cleaner. And that's some clean rice. Right, so how I like to empty it is I take off the top, get a jug of water, put it in there, and there we are. There's some lovely clean rice. Right, let's go over to the desk again and show you how I want to improve it even more. And here I am back at my desk. This is the rice I prepared earlier. I'll put that aside for now. So I'm going to go over what I really want to improve in the next iteration. Most of this is completely fine. It actually works and it doesn't use any electricity, and I can walk away from it and it does it, and it's great. The things I need to change is, one of which is this, because this is awful. I wanna fix this to be maybe like one of these kind of opening thingies, but this is just a minor change. I don't like the splashing, but there's not much I can do about that. I've had to add little pieces in here to lift up the drum slightly higher because it was too low and it was hitting the bottom, but that I can change later on. That's fine. So yeah, apart from that, this bit's fine. You just need to change that and the height of these. The drum itself is actually kind of perfect. Like, I have no complaints about it. The thing I have the most complaints about is these bearings. See, I'm using metal ball bearings, which are fine, except the fact that they are metal, so they rust. So every time I'm done using the rice cleaner, also I don't want to use screws in this for the same reasons, but yeah, these ball bearings I have to take out and dry every single time. So hopefully I can maybe use some kind of plastic ball bearings. I was looking into ceramic ball bearings, but they are £16 for 2 of them, which is just a ridiculous amount of money to spend on ball bearings for such a simple thing, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, some kind of plastic variant. I've not found ones that are the same size as these. These are just regular skateboard bearings. But yeah, I'll find some plastic ones that I can just put on here. And maybe I could even shrink this down further to the point where these are all the way to the bottom, and that we can actually shrink the casing down as well. But yeah, these are just a few changes I want to make for the next version. Apart from that, this works a lot. It's a lot simpler than the version I've been working on for a few months now. But yeah. Fuck. God damn it! I can't rip that out now. No, never mind. So yeah, those are the two things that I think really need changing, just the ball bearings and this thing. And we've got a pretty good rice cleaner that I don't mind publishing and telling people about. So yeah, that's my rice cleaner project that I have spent way too much time and money on. Hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to follow me on social media and stuff. And yeah, don't forget to have fun.